Hi, people. I'm going to continue with my church rummage sale find. So I'm going to like tear the lid off here and share some interesting finds with you. I haven't even had much of a chance to check this out yet, so check it out with me. Um, this time I brought my reading glasses so I could read some of these packages. Let's see here. Findings. Hooray for findings. Um, These are funky little, I don't know what these say. What's it say? Magic Finding Omega Insert. Okay, I'll look that up on the pooter, see what that means. And good old rings and things. They've been in business for a while. Um, and huge stacks of, oh, these are interesting. Okay, what is it? This is not your typical, that says Magic Finding. um, I thought at first that these were um, um, what do you call it? Crimp beads, but clearly they're not. They might be, well, I'll look it up online, but they might actually be magnetic. So that would be a handy thing. Clearly this is also labeled magic finding. So I will, I'll find out what a magic finding is and demonstrate it for you if I get a chance to. That's exciting. I hadn't even heard of that. What's this? Oh, this is a little knitting thing. So these are these are knitting needles with the wiggly part in between. So I don't knit, but hey, maybe I could start. That's pretty fun. I will set that aside for now. The box was labeled seed beads, as you can see. And as you can see, most of the things in there are seed beads. So hey, let's get a thing going here. Ooh, just good old clear. Now this is actually a luster crystal. Luster means it's just like basically a shinier finish. Um, these beads, for example, are translucent, but they're not luster. Luster just has an extra sparkle to it, and the sparkle is not created by facets the way they are in the so-called Charlotte beads or the true cut beads or the three cut beads that I showed in the previous video. The luster finish is a special finish put on during the bead making process. So that is very fun and cool. One thing about no color or clear or white seed beads is that they're not, but when you need a non-color or a clear, or you want to play with using brightly colored or dark colored black thread with this is going to, I showed you in the previous video, is a very different thing. So it's something to consider. Also, when you use just plain white seed beads, I don't know if, let's see. Looks like these are some opaque matte. They look fairly white to me. Anybody who's bought tile has discovered the world of like white and kind of white and yellowish white and so on. These are drops. What you can do with white beads is use brightly colored or black thread with them, and it'll totally change the look. These are, I wish I should probably do a whole show on, here's some, here's some white beads. Look at the difference here. These are not white. These are creamy yellowish white. These are white. But there are shades of white. I've seen shades of white that are just have a tiny hint of lavender in them. I've seen white that looks white until you put it next to something that's more white, you know. can get into all kind of metaphorical avenues with that, but there are like a million different whites out there. Same with the color black. There is matte black. There is um, different versions of black. I mean, I'm wearing a black shirt with black jeans right now, and the jeans are more faded than the shirt. And if I put my shirt up to another pair of pants that I have that are black, it would look gray. So enough said. Anyway, that's the snow white, creamy white, and clear contingent there. Oh, here's some more clear. These are small knots of beads, and they're all in these little tiny exacting containers. It's a wild thing. Um, I might just dump some of these the smaller quantities of these beads out. Focus sesame, thank you, onto a plate and donate these plastic things because there's like a lot of plastic around in the world, and if I can make it so that somebody gets a piece of plastic that they can actually use for free and they don't have to buy one, that's always good. We've got yellows, and again, yellows get a short shrift, I think, um, in the bead world. It's looked at as like one of those how do you use it colors. And just so you know, these are a special type of seed bead that are known as Delicas, and they're like size 8 Delicas. They're big, relatively. Um, they have nice big holes too. Focus sesame. There you go. See how big those holes are? Nice. Can get away with murder with big holes. Same with these. They look like the same color, but they might be a different size. Let's see. Uh, I will. Oh, no, I think they just had, it's the same color only in, they just didn't have the right size of containers, so they put them in two containers. And this says it's size 6. Got to watch sizes here because I'll risk capsizing these probably, but let's see if these size 6s stack up together. Oh, yeah, they're about the same size. Okay. So this is a size 6 seed bead. 6 bead. My husband called these the hippie bead sizes. Back in the day, in the late 60s, they called them love beads. Um, as a marketing gimmick, I'm sure. I don't know. Maybe they were love beads. But it's a size that's good for not only seed bead weaving, but stringing and using as a spacer bead between other full beads, other larger beads, perhaps. Now, oh, okay, this is a container from Beads and Beyond, and I could do a whole show about the legendary store called Beads and Beyond. I taught there back in the day. It's in the Seattle area. And these are just kind of interesting, kind of rough, crude bicones. I have a suspicion that these may or may not be from Beads and Beyond, but they're just kind of fun, interesting beads. So I'll go with it. These are, the funny thing is these are about the same size as these seed beads, but these are not considered seed beads. The main reason is that they are not uniformly round. So in fact, this shape is called a bicone, kind of like two pyramids stuck together or two cones stuck together in the bottom. So they considered, they put it in the seed bead box, or they just thought, okay, I'll just go with that, whatever. Oh, here's another yellow. The other thing about yellow is that there are more shades of yellow than you might think. Obviously, let's see, so far we have, let's see, 4 shades of yellow. And believe me, I have way more shades of yellow than that in my Etsy shop. So I can link to my, I'll, I will do a, I'll find my Etsy shop online and I will give you a link to that. Come on, baby. Go to, oh, it might not, okay. My computer might be running too slowly to do that. So I'll wait for that. Oh, here it comes. I will actually exit from there because there we go, because I don't want to screw up the recording. Um, I can link to my Etsy shop in the description box below. So, and just so you know, too, I noticed that here's another Beads and Beyond label with a very similar number with different types of beads. So I'm thinking this lady, I assume it's a lady person. It might not be a lady. It might be a guy who had all these beads. Just use these emptied out containers. Used all the beads that were originally in these containers, and then put these beads in these containers. I don't know. It's just a hypothesis. Um, Orange. I have a funny story about orange, you guys. More size 6 seed beads, it looks like. These two, that is. These are smaller, and these are, oh my God. Well, it says 11, excuse me. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, now you can see it. 11D. I have a suspicion that these are size 11 Delica beads, which are another, they're like these, only these are size 6 Delica beads. So again, the holes are big, the size is uniform. That's like a little section of pipe. I will get back to my exciting orange story. When I worked at a bead store in the Portland area in the early 2000s, we frequently put together these wonderful little jars of bead soup. What happens was we would have, the owner would purchase a half kilo or even a kilo of seed beads at a time and put them into tubes like these, so that people didn't have to buy an entire kilo of seed beads at a time, because not everybody needs an entire kilo of the same color of seed beads. So what always happened was you would get about 20 tubes, 20 to 24 tubes of a certain seed bead, and then you would end up with a partial portion of a tube, right? So what do you do with the partial portion of the tube? You put it in the bead soup jar. Now we always had kind of color schemes going. We'd have these nice, wonderful, kind of a bow tie mix, black, white, gray, silver. Then you'd have a mostly greens, then you have mostly purples, and then you'd have like a kind of a fiery red, orange, yellow mix. One day, somebody dared, one employee, I don't know who it was, dared to put some orange beads in with the purple, at which some people liked it, at which one of the customers came in and was just aghast, couldn't believe, how could you put orange in with the purple? So I think she got over it. But it was like, oh, you put, somebody put purple and orange together. Oh my, ouch. This just really, people are really funny about color. So yeah, here's some coppery beads, and there's a couple, little bit of purplish in there. These are, oh, I think they call them roller beads or small crow beads. Again, they're very uniform. The hole is big, and hooray for big holes. Um, let's see. There's a majority of orange in here, so why don't I remove the non-orange? Wonderful purples. When you're working with purple, watch out, and if you're not sure whether it's dyed, ask your vendor, ask your bead seller whether they are dyed, because sometimes they are dyed. I once made not listed as dyed. Some colors, especially for example, fuchsia pink, cannot be impregnated in glass. In other words, you cannot make a good fuchsia pink glass. So the color fuchsia pink is applied to the top of the glass. Well, one time I made a bracelet with out of fuchsia pink beads, washed my hands and discovered all that fuchsia pink was now on my skin. So it's dyed, ask your vendor, ask your seller, bead seller, if those beads are dyed, and they need to give you an honest answer. And if they hesitate or go back and forth about it, just assume they're dyed because be on the safe side. Or just buy a small amount and test it out. Stick it, you make something, put it on your skin, wash your hands with it on, see what it does, put it in a sunny window because even sunlight will cause dyed beads to fade. I found this even with greens, certain oranges, certain greens, but mostly the culprits are fuchsia and purple. This one might be, this one probably not, but again, find out by doing something with it and then decide whether you can make that heirloom piece with it. Good old pink, what can I say? And it's got kind of a lustrous finish, but it's not, luster is generally reserved, that luster I was talking about earlier with these beads is generally reserved, that term is generally reserved for translucent beads. These are not translucent, but they do have a lustrous finish on them. And again, since it's pink and it's a finish like this, I'm assuming it's applied to the surface of the glass. Even if these are glass inside, there's a surface that's been applied to it. And surfaces can generally be counted on to fall off. These are a wonderful metallic. I'm going to test them. I might break one of them and see what it looks like inside. Then I will sit it in a sunny window. Then I'll maybe string a few of them, wear it for a week, and etc. Oh, okay. This says 11 Miyuki galvanized apricot. So galvanized, I'm glad they wrote galvanized on there because I don't have to test it now. What that means is that galvanization is basically an electroplating over glass. That is not a permanent finish. When you buy beads that have a metallic surface on them, either the metallic surface is baked in or galvanized or applied. When it's galvanized, it will not last forever. When it is, actually, I used the wrong term, electroplated. When it's electroplated, I believe that is not a permanent finish. So again, ask your vendor if you're buying, whether you're buying online or in person, ask your vendor whether they're galvanized. There are a lot of modern technological advances that make it so that they have something called Duracoat. It's wonderful, I'm sure. Again, if in doubt, test it out because you don't want to have something coming back to you several years later and find out that all the color is gone. So I'm glad it says galvanized, GALV dot, because that way I know that I should use this on things that do not touch the skin generally. For example, and things that are going to be in a sunny window. I'm not going to make a wall, a little pendant that hangs in a window with these beads because they'll probably fade. So enough of the ranting about that. This is another 11D for Delica. I think these, I'm interpreting the different numbers these bead stores put on their beads, bead containers. 11S, I'm assuming that S means seed bead versus 11D, which means Delica. Again, because I didn't buy these from the store. Somebody else did. They may have used up whatever was in here and put something else in it. So I can't assume that these accurately depict what's inside. But hey, it's part of the adventure. Another seed bead, size 11. What can I say? Neat and tidy little flip top, flip top um, container. Those can be reused. If you have these and you don't reuse them, just give them to somebody who does, because again, God knows we have enough plastic in the world already, right? So yeah, uh, let's see, seed beads galore. This doesn't have any, this does not have a label on it, but I can tell it's a seed bead and I can tell it's probably size 10 or 11. What I'll do is I'll just work up a little section, like a 1 inch by 1 inch section of it in peyote stitch. And that's where the rubber meets the road. That's how I know what it'll behave like when I work with it, is to work up a little patch of it. One thing to note too is that, see how these beads are orange on the, or like a apricot orange on the inside and clear on the outside? Those often fade. So that's another thing. Whenever you have a seed bead that has a color on the inside and glass on the outside, the color has been essentially painted on in some way. Not painted with a paintbrush, done industrially somehow, but it really cannot be relied on to stay this way. Pardon my berry picking fingernails. I've been enjoying picking wild blackberries lately, and that affects it affects the way my fingernails look. What can I say? These are fun cubes. That's just another way to, it's still within the seed bead category. The holes are big. They take up space very differently from the way most seed beads do, but boy, are they fun. And hey, black goes with everything, right? Oh, super tiny. Okay, these are smaller than size 11, they look like. Ah, and this, believe it or not, is a permanent finish. They call it an iris finish. It looks like the little patch of oil that accumulates under somebody's car on the street, and it's a gorgeous color. The iris finish actually comes in black iris, green iris, blue iris, and purple iris. So you can, and brown iris, which that color. So it's a color that has other colors within it, and that is, hooray, a permanent finish. Won't wear off, as far as I know, in my experience. Here's another one. This is actually, it looks like the color is coming from the glass, and then it's got a little bit of white lining on it. So the white lining can theoretically come off. One thing about any lined beads, such as especially the silver lined ones, is that over time they will tarnish. That actually needs to be a consideration when you design. Also, if you're restoring something, chances are, if it's a type of silver line thing, a bead, it will have tarnished. So what you need to do is not look for brand new seed beads that are silver lined, because it won't match, but old seed beads that are silver lined, because it will match, because they also tarnished. So that's something to consider when designing. Oh, what else? Oh, more Delicas. Yep, 11D. They have wonderful colors. The Japanese are wonderful inventors and innovators with color. They're really responsive to what people want and designers ask for. They come up with many really cool colors. And the checks are great too. What I love about the checks is they have all the iris color. They do all the iris colors. They do a lot of stripes. And they do those wonderful Picasso finishes. The neat thing is that the checks, since the parting of the Iron Curtain have begun to actually work with Japanese bead makers instead of, well, of course, they still compete with them, but they also, because people want Japanese shapes, but they want Czech colors, the Czechs will actually take Japanese made seed beads and put their own colors on them. So color finishes on them. So it's a wonderful, I mean, I might be using Pollyanna-ish terms here, but as far as what I can tell, they're doing some really cool things with beads. So instead of competing with each other, they are collaborating with each other. Hooray. And here's another wonderful, it's again, it's S for seed bead. I've worked with this color before. It's great. It's dyed, but it doesn't seem to fade too rapidly. So it's something to consider, but it's a good color. Well, I like it. I don't know if you like it. I like it. Here's another, oh, it says Yuki 15. This is, let's see, I know Japanese, yeah, okay, Japanese seed beads come in iris colors too. So this is the one I showed you earlier. These are both size 15. They are smaller than size 11, just like wire gauges. The bigger the number, the larger the bead. So another thing to consider. When you're starting out, it sounds like this completely different language. Another wonderful color. Love those purples with the little iris glints and hints of other colors. What can I say? What's wonderful about those for designing is they have the potential for expanding the types of things, other elements that color-wise that they'll go with. So hooray for that. More purple, and these are, let's see. Oh, these are size 10 Delicas, which are, let's see, larger than, let me grab a, I'm not, well, I will put some in my hand just to show you the difference between the sizes. So there are the purples in the size 10 Delicas, and here are some size 11 Delicas. Here we go. Look at the size difference in a sec here. I'll tap out a few. I don't know if you can, okay, yeah, you can see. So when a project calls for size 10 Delicas, they mean 10 and not 11, just so you know. And a lot of teachers will insist that you use certain types of beads. In other words, the project is designed for specifically Delicas and not seed beads, or vice versa. So it's something to consider. And personally, I generally don't do that. I encourage my students to bring, in the automotive world, they have a term called run what you brung. I say, if somebody says, can I do this in Delicas? I'll go, well, let's find out, because that would be interesting to know. So again, just so you know, there is a difference between this. Oh, this is coming off. So, and this is, okay, this is probably built for something else, but oh, no, it's stuck on. Now these, I think, I suspect, focus sesame, I suspect these might be garnet. I don't know. I might have to look at them with a loop or something, something a little where I can look closer up than using reading glasses. These, I don't know, because they're so perfectly faceted and stuff, or they're, these, I believe, these might be glass, but they're not seed beads. They are faceted. They might be, I don't know, Swarovski crystals, or, crystal glass beads instead of seed beads, regular glass seed beads. Just for the record, I've heard Working in a bead store, I heard many variations on the term Swarovski. I think the most humorous version I heard, and I had nothing, I don't want to sound like a snob, but I've heard some pretty humorous mispronunciations of the term Swarovski. I think the funniest one was Shavorsky, but hey, pronounce it whatever way you like. Because as long as you're doing beadwork, you can pronounce things whatever way you like. I'm happy with you. These again are Focus Sesame. Come on, baby. Focus. Thank you. These are, look at those perfect facets. Well, just about perfect. Those are probably crystal Swarovski or Swarovski, imitation Swarovski. Crystal glass, still glass, not quartz or rock crystal, but glass. But they call them crystal because they're so nicely made. Good stuff. What's in this little one? Oh, more. I think they're Delicas. Yep, they're just those perfect little Delicas. Now, some people too, in the U.S., in the United States, we are very lucky. It's a prosperous country. A lot of people have money to spend, and yeah, you can go to a church rummage sale and find a treasure trove, right? In some places, you can only get check seed beads. In some other places, you can only get Delicas, pretty much. It's wild. So we're if you live in America, count your blessings. This is we have a lot of variety that you can access. Lot of resources. This is one of my favorite colors. Another one of my almost favorite. Well, every color is my favorite color, but this is a really good one. It's another Delica. Thank you, ma'am. I'm glad you left all these beads, donated all these beads to the church rummage sale. Here's another Delica. And what's great about, these are glitzy and fun with lots of colors, Focus Sesame, but these, even though they don't look so glamorous, really make those other beads pop. So design-wise, if you have every single bead in your project shiny and glitzy like this with nothing like this to back it up, it's just going to kind of wash over you. I recommend using, I wouldn't say some restraint, because I mean, believe me, I'm not known for my restraint when it comes to beading materials, but design wise, if you only use glitz, then you're going to get glitz overwhelm. If you pair glitz with something like this, or better yet, matte texture, then the glitz is suddenly becomes special. So design tips, what can I say? Whether you wanted them or not, right? These are probably dyed howlite. Howlite is a bead, a mineral that occurs white as a whitish color with black veins, and it takes dye really easily. So if they say howlite and if they say it's howlite and it's a color, it's been dyed. These are probably fire polish. Let's see. Let's find out. Oh, no, they're just kind of wacky, oddly shaped beads. There's some small discs in here, some rounds. Okay, cool. Oh, and there's even a bugle bead or two in there. That could be fun. It's random glass beads, random small glass beads. Yay. Here's another mystery guy. Oh, more glass. Yay. Okay. And again, you'd think, okay, aren't these seed beads? These are small. No, well, that one was, there's a seed bead that snuck in there, but the other beads are, when they're plain round, they call them drucks. I can look it up on the Wikipedia. I don't know why. Here's more of the same as the other one. Yeah. See, clearly this was not, this was something else that was just stuck into these two containers. So nice stuff. If you look it up in the Wikipedia, the term Drek, it's it's a fun thing. More probably either Swarovski or imitation Swarovski crystals, along with some little spacer beads. When you're getting mystery piles, assume that everything is, assume the stuff is not non-precious, but act like it was, just out of respect. What can I say? More seed beads, mocha sesame. It's a little more red to my eyes than what I'm seeing on the screen, but what can I say? And this is had better stay flat because it's not going to, the the top can come off. Ooh, more Delicas. Yeah. And what's nice is that if I need more of this color, I have that as a part number. Some stores use their own numbering system, some don't. So it's kind of a, a toss-up as to whether that's a legitimate reorderable number. But hey, it's nice to know. Oh, here's a label, galvanized apricot gold. Okay. So another galvanized one that means that's not a permanent finish, but it's pretty. Ah, these look like, oh, these are, this is labeled. It says Delica Silver Line Gold 10-0. So again, here's another size 10 Delica as opposed to size 11 Delica, and there is a difference between the two sizes. More Swarovski-like crystals, very nicely. These are made in a different fashion than the seed beads. And it turns, ooh, and that's a kind of a, in my, it looks a little more blue on the monitor here, but I'm looking at kind of a lavenderish gray. And again, these are really nicely faceted glass beads. What can I say? Here is a transparent, translucent gray. Again, people, that's from, I think from the tag, it looks like it's from my neighborhood. I'm so lucky. I live within 15 minutes drive or half an hour drive of a bead store the size of a Costco, Shipwreck Beads. And this looks like one of their excellent products. So they have mainly check beads, but they do have some delicas and some really fun shapes, and they've got a wonderful selection of uh, beads of all materials, including stone, really high quality stone beads and precious metal beads. But I used to live, when I lived in Portland, I was 2 hours to go to it because it's a huge bead store. So yeah, this is a local person who donated it to a local church, and they shopped at a local store. What can I say? Patronize your local stores; they need you. And this person, they put SW for shipwreck, and with the shipwreck's own part number on there. And now that is going to be exclusive. Shipwreck just makes up their own part numbers so that you can't go to Czech Republic and go, I want SB205R. They're going to look at you and go, no. I have actually, I didn't plan on this, but I will show it to you in a minute. Check, well, I'll show it to you right now. I got to go to Czech Republic, and they have their, and it's got 4 different languages. These are their color numbers. They combine these color numbers with other color numbers and part numbers, but basically that's that they have like a whole range, including stripes, little stripes, solids, and beautiful tortoiseshell. So everybody, generally, Miyuki uses one set of color numbers. Toho beads in Japan uses another set of color numbers. Vendors use their sets, so it's yeah, it can get pretty crazy. So if in doubt, keep the number that you have originally ordered and hope for the best. And then look, that's the problem with buying online. These look like actual Swarovski crystals. The quality is very high. I'll show you by contrast. These guys that are not so faceted so perfectly. They look great, but they're not Swarovski crystals. I believe, I'm guessing, that's not labeled, and so I'm guessing that these are. Let's see if I can put this back on without capsizing things. There we go. But hey, that's always a fun thing. These little suckers go for these are they're so nicely made, they're not cheap. So thank you, anonymous person who donated these to the church rummage sale. These look like they might be imitation pearls. That's fun. And yet it's yet another version of white, which is like of which there are many. Let's do the quick comparison with the three different whites here, so-called whites here. So we've got white, slightly creamy white, very creamy white. I don't know, something like that. Uh, Silver lined, clear. And again, that'll tarnish over time. These are filigree or hollow metal beads, and they're kind of lightweight, focused sesame, and they're very intricately made, and they are uh, plated, so they're not going to be a permanent finish, but they're probably pretty good. Just so you know. Oh, more Delicas, and this is another one of those kind of sleeper colors. It's not, it's got some glitz to it, but the color is fairly dull. But that, if you put that with brighter colors, will really set off the brighter colors. Design tips, and let's see what these are. Oh, these are cute little fire polish beads in kind of a focus sesame. Let me get that close. Yes. Uh, just kind of randomly placed two-tone colors. View flash. Bugles. They're always fun. Ah. Oh, just some random color lined and even some striped seed beads in here. And they look like they're roughly size 6. They might be just they might be a little more, they're looking a little more irregular than the average seed bead, but they sure have some fun colors in there. Oh boy, what do we got here? I think, oh, hard to say where the hole, oh, okay. Yeah, they might be just, oh, let's do, oh, we have, oh, round duo mini jet, 4 millimeter. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take that as what they say. Oh, these are also metal. They're a lot heavier. So they might be solid brass instead of electroplated something or other. Weight is the factor when you're designing too. Be aware of the weight and the way things get weighed down, and the fact that things can get a little too weighty sometimes. These are tiny drucks. They're not seed beads, even though they're about the same size as a size 6 seed bead. So, but they're really nicely made. And that's kind of a, Oh, yeah, it says CZ for check round. And I'm not sure what they're saying. Something rather red. Anyway, cool. Oh, I wonder if these are. Ooh, it's fun. Let's see what the other little tiny ones has in it. These containers are just almost too something or other. Let's see. Oh, oh, one of them's broken. That's good because I can analyze. It's easier to analyze when you can look at a broken piece. It might be wood, dyed wood. That'd be cool. Wood is cool. Doesn't have to be glass to be my friend. I befriend things of all materials. These are glass. These are probably imitation Swarovski crystals, that kind of thing. Faceted. Takes a lot of work to facet these beads. I have pictures of people putting the facets in the beads in Czech Republic. Ah, mixed seed beads, I guess. I think these, focus sesame, there we go, are, oh, there's some drops in there. Yay, drops. Okay, well, that'll be fun. Drops are a very fun companion to seed beads. Oh, is it a creamy yellow, a creamy pale yellow? Add to the yellow collection, the underrated yellows. Oh, okay. 14 SD 109. Yeah, Delica. And it says it's 11 of Delica. So I don't know why I don't know why they have a part number involving the number 14 when it says 11, but hey, say lovey. At least it says that. So black goes with everything. Focus sesame. Come on, baby. Focus sesame. Ah, thank you. So right there, you can see one, see, even though it's so tiny, you can see that nice big hole up there and up there too. That's why people love Delicas. These have big holes too. They're just bigger overall. And that is good too. Craft item. A good seller will say where they're from. Yeah, these are Czech. That means that's good quality. Here we go. Uh, oh, these are Delicas and size 8 Delicas. So again, the holes are big. It's like a perfect little section of pipe. You can count on it to be the same. Each bead just be the same size as the next. Oh, Hands of the Hills. Yeah, that's another Seattle area vendor. Wonderful, wonderful place, wonderful beads. Czech seed beads are a little more irregular than Delicas. You can see how wide that one is, and then you can see this one is a lot narrower. That's another design decision. A lot of people don't like to work with Czech because of that. However, when doing sculptural work, I do like having wider and narrower beads to work with. The profile going around the so-called equator of the bead is going to be the same, but the width going from North Pole to South Pole through the hole is going to be different. That can actually be a useful thing. However, if you're doing the type of work you're doing does not accommodate that, that's something to consider. All right, more seed beads, probably Czech. Getting down to the bottom of the pile here. These might be stone beads, natural stone. There we go. Look at that. That would be very hard to duplicate in glass. Some glass beads do. Now that there's a glass bead in there, that faceted one, but the rest of them, it's tricky design wise to combine glass with natural stone because even though they try very hard, it's very difficult to duplicate natural materials color-wise. But when you can, it's a fun thing. Now, the original rhinestones, you know, the term rhinestone actually is derived from the fact that the actual real rhinestones were quartz crystal beads that they found in the Rhine River. They were popular and people liked them. More more fun, either Swarovski or Czech glass beads. Um, and of course, the glass makers immediately did their best to imitate the clear crystal, quartz crystal in glass. And now the term rhinestones refers to glass beads that are clear. Or not rhinestones, excuse me, not glass beads, but glass cabochons that are faceted and sparkling and stuff. More cube beads, which are wonderful to work with. And there's more size 6 seed beads, silver lined orange. More size 6, more size 6. These are actually bigger than size 6. And these are probably size 6. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I've been digressing a lot. Digressing is fun. It's part of beading. And I've got one more of these guys to go through. So I hope you join me for that one too. And this time I'm going to remember to do this. I'm going to say, this is on YouTube. I'm putting this on YouTube. So I will ask you to kindly click on the like button if you liked it, click on the subscribe button and share it with a friend. And leave a comment if you like. Tell me if you like it. Tell me to stop digressing or to digress more. And ask me too. I will pay attention. I will actually read the comments. Ask me what you want to hear about. I've been to Czech Republic twice. I've witnessed people making glass beads in Czech Republic and glass buttons. I have slideshows of those trips, including some of the wonderful architecture there and elsewhere. I mean, I've been other parts of the world too. So I have lots of beady tales to tell. So this is a local tale. A wonderful person donated beads to the church rummage sale a few miles from my house. So that's the local story. But again, there are global tales to tell, and I'm happy to tell them. I'll see you next time. Bye.